Imagine waking up one morning and realizing every dollar you own is gone. Not stolen, not spent, just locked away. And when you ask why, the people holding your money talk to you like you're the problem. That's exactly what happened to me. And by the time this bank realized who they were messing with, it was already too late. If you've ever felt powerless against a system that didn't care about you, if you've ever dreamed of watching an arrogant institution panic because they underestimated the wrong person, then hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle up. Because this revenge didn't involve lawyers or threats. It involved $3 and total chaos. I used to think small, local banks were safer, more human, more trustworthy. That was my first mistake. For reasons I still can't fully explain, I decided to move part of my savings into a tiny local credit union. The kind with one branch, a dusty parking lot, and smiling faces plastered all over their website. "We treat you like family," they claimed. I believed them. For a while, everything was fine. My paycheck cleared. My rent was paid. Life moved on. Then one afternoon, I stopped at an ATM to withdraw cash.
Declined.
I frowned. Tried again.
Declined.
That quiet panic started creeping up my spine, the kind that makes your stomach drop before your brain can catch up. I walked inside the branch. The place smelled like old carpet and printer ink. A clerk, mid-40s, bored expression, badge clipped crookedly, barely looked up as I explained the issue. She tapped on her keyboard, squinted, then said, "Oh yeah, the ATM's been weird. Just use this." She slid a slip of paper across the counter with a code written on it. She explained it calmly, like it was nothing special. A standard feature. A manual withdrawal code that deducts directly from your account.
No warnings.
No red flags.
No hesitation.
I used it, got my cash, went on with my life, and that should have been the end of it. A few days later, my card stopped working again. This time everywhere. Online payments. Transfers. Everything. I opened my banking app. Account under review. Funds temporarily unavailable. My heart started racing. I hadn't overdrafted. I hadn't missed a payment. I hadn't done anything wrong. I called support. After 20 minutes on hold, someone finally answered. I explained the situation. Silence. Keyboard clicking. Then, in a tone that felt just slightly smug, she said, "Your account was flagged due to an accounting discrepancy." I asked what that meant. She sighed, actually sighed, before responding. "The system deducted your balance late. It's under review." I blinked. "So, your system made a mistake?" Another pause. "Sir, these things take time." "How long?" "There's no exact timeline." That was the first day. A week passed. Then 2. My rent was due. My bills were stacking up. Every time I called, I got the same script, sometimes worse. One rep laughed when I asked for an update. Another said, "Well, you should have been more careful." And then there were the comments, the subtle ones, the ones that made your skin crawl because they were easy to deny. We see situations like this a lot with international clients. These issues tend to happen when people don't fully understand our systems. My last name isn't common where I live, and suddenly that mattered. I could hear it in their voices. The impatience, the assumptions, like I was guilty by default. By week 4, I was exhausted. I was borrowing money to survive while my own money sat behind a screen I wasn't allowed to touch. That's when I called my family back home. I didn't want advice. I just needed to vent. I explained everything. The frozen account, the disrespect, the month-long silence. There was a pause. Then my younger cousin said something that changed everything. "Why don't you embarrass them?" I laughed.
How?
He told me about a service. A weird, sketchy-sounding website where, for a few Russian rubles per post, literally cents, you could have accounts flood social media with whatever message you wanted. Reviews. Complaints. Comments. I hesitated. This wasn't illegal. It wasn't hacking. It wasn't threats. It was noise. Public noise. For a total of $3, I decided to try. The website was disturbingly efficient. I could choose profile types. American-looking names. Generic profile photos. Different age ranges. I wrote a few prompts. This bank froze my account for weeks without explanation. Terrible service. Avoid at all costs. Support was rude and dismissive. I clicked submit. And then, I waited. Within minutes, the credit union's Facebook page started lighting up. Then Twitter. Then Google reviews. One complaint every few seconds. Then dozens. Then hundreds.
It looked organic.
Messy. Uncontrollable. Real people scrolling would have no idea what was happening, only that suddenly, everyone seemed angry at this bank. I refreshed the page and felt something I hadn't felt in over a month.
Power.
That afternoon, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. The voice on the other end was different.
Calm.
Measured. Professional. Hello, this is a call center manager from credit union name. We'd like to discuss your account. I leaned back in my chair. Oh, he spoke quickly now. They understood my frustration. They acknowledged delays. They wanted to resolve things amicably. He offered something remarkable. Even if I wanted to close my account, they would immediately release my full balance.
Plus $50 compensation.
Transferred to any bank of my choosing.
Same day.
I said nothing. He added, almost nervously, we believe it's best to end this on a positive note. An hour later, the money hit my new account. Every cent. Plus the 50.
Just like that.
After a month of excuses, after weeks of silence, after being treated like I was disposable, all it took was a few hundred angry voices they couldn't control. And the best part?
There was no way to link it back to me.
I sat there, staring at my phone, watching the complaints keep coming. I couldn't even stop them if I wanted to. The bots didn't care. The internet didn't care. The bank would have to deal with the fallout. Every new customer would see it. Every investor would notice. Every executive would panic. All because they thought I was powerless. They were wrong. Looking back, I didn't ruin that bank.
They did.
All I did was shine a light on how they treated someone they thought didn't matter. Turns out reputation is a fragile thing. If this story gave you that deep, satisfying sense of justice, smash that like button. Subscribe for more real-life revenge stories that prove power doesn't always belong to the biggest player. And tell me in the comments, what's the worst experience you've ever had with a bank or company? Because sometimes, the smallest actions create the loudest consequences.